Now, breaking news. Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes have both announced their departure from AEW. All Elite Wrestling, the house that Cody Rhodes helped build. As an executive vice president, is now no longer the house that Cody Rhodes built. Because Cody Rhodes is gone. So now, you have a statement, which obviously I'm not going to read all this, but as you all can see, Cody Rhodes released a statement earlier today, thanking all the people of AEW and everybody who has helped him along the way, which obviously I feel like, obviously you probably should do that, right? But then Tony Khan, or I guess quote unquote AEW, released a statement. Obviously, and I gotta say this as well. I don't know if you were able to read any of the stuff that AEW put out or Tony Khan put out in response, or I guess announcing the departure. But it seems like both parties have shown some class in its departure. Now, obviously, we're going to get into the whole outcomes and why did Cody. We don't know why he left, but just our little speculations of why he left. What's next for Cody? We're going to get into that. But I want to know your initial reaction, Jake, because I got to be honest, man. Like, I was so fucking speechless when this news came out, and I just thought to myself, I was like, bro, there's no fucking way that Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW. He literally, if there was no Cody Rhodes, there would be no AEW. I don't think so. Maybe other people disagree, whatever. But I don't believe there will be an AEW without Cody Rhodes. So there's some speculation that I have, but we're going to get to that here in a second. But Jake, I do want to ask you, what was your initial reaction to Cody Rhodes announcing that he and Brandy are no longer with AEW? This was shocking to me. What did you think?
It was absolutely. I don't know, man. It's hard to imagine AEW without Cody Rhodes. Like, it's been going on 3 years, and he's been the man. He's to AEW to what Ric Flair was to WCW. Just it wouldn't be shit without him. But also like when you texted me that, my first thought was it's a work. Like this is trying to build up, because immediately upon announcing that he's leaving AEW, well, he's instantly the hottest free agent in the business. He's able to do that now. He can, announce that, and that generates that kind of hype. Seeing like those statements right there, maybe it's not a work, but I don't know. I wonder what he's gonna do. Is he actually gonna go back to WWE? That maybe they're offering him big boy money. Price is right. And those were my initial thoughts. So did he I like to call it, Vince McMahon maybe talk to Cody, and his long, and like that's one thing. Crazier things have happened. No one ever thought Bret Hart would go back to WWE, but he did. And I like to call it convincing.
Well, look, man, and I want to let you guys know right now. Jake and I are probably going to be disagreeing a lot in this cat, because there's just a lot of stuff that is happening in a wrestling world where I'm just like, what the actual fuck is going on? Like, people, they're losing fucking control of professional wrestling. Like, and I'm not just talking about the upper management. I'm talking about the wrestler, like the people that are putting in the work into this business are just, a lot of them are really. I have no idea what the fuck is. I really don't. I have no idea what the fuck is going on with the wrestling business right now. I really don't. I may act like I may like seem like it, but dude, it's crazy the shit that goes through. So like, these people are signing these very. I'm not saying like substantial, but these are. You're not going to get a better contract. And whether you go to AEW or WWE, you're not gonna. You may WWE might have a better contract than AEW, and AEW might have a better contract for you than WWE. But at the end of the day, I would assume that they both are very high-paying contracts. Like you're not going to AEW and wrestling for fucking $500. They're having guys on there that are you're probably making a good at least few thousand probably. If you come on for a match for like a one of or an appearance or whatever, I don't know. I don't know the numbers and stuff like that, but I would assume just looking that AEW's on TNT and TBS, WWE's on USA and Fox, you're getting your bag regardless. Wherever you go, whoever goes to either one of those companies, they're getting their fucking bag. Now, I shouldn't even say theory. But the way I look at it from coming from my perspective, just as a fan, a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, I don't think Cody Rhodes would really make this into because I thought about it. I don't think Cody Rhodes would make this into a work. Although I wouldn't say all the time, but there's a lot of signs and there's a lot of support that would make someone think this could possibly be a work. Now, if it is, this will make Cody one of the best heels. I wouldn't say one of the best heels because we haven't seen his work as a heel, if this is even a work. But, and I do think it's a very slim chance that this is a work. But there is a possibility. Nothing is in the realm of impossible anymore. Everything's in the realm of possibility now, as we just saw. But I don't think, Cody working, the AEW fans. We saw the AEW fans booing Cody, booing Brandy, which Brandy rightfully so. And the only reason why I say Brandy rightfully so, the reason why Brandy got it is because Brandy literally, she doesn't know how to cut a promo. She can't cut a promo. I don't know if you saw her work a couple weeks ago when she was in the ring with, I think it was that Dan guy, Dan Lambert or whatever. And she was stumbling over words. She called Chicago Cleveland. Like it was a whole fucking thing, dude. And I was just like, bro, some people just don't belong in the ring. Some people, I wouldn't say don't belong in the ring because I don't want to disrespect her like that, but some people don't belong with the microphone in their hands in the middle of a ring.
Yeah.
That's all I'll fucking say about the whole Brandy thing.
Yeah.
But them losing Brandy, I mean, maybe on the executive side, maybe like on the, for the, corporate side or business side of it, yeah, it's probably a loss. In terms of talent, no. Yeah. Cody, on the other hand, there were a couple of pay-per-views where I literally ordered the AEW pay-per-view to watch Cody match. The one where he faced MJF and the one where he faced Dustin Rhodes. That was the first,
killer match.
Then we get to the outcome of, and the one thing that most people are saying, because I understand that WWE and everybody's going to think AEW. But what has happened, Jake, when ever since, what was it, 2019 or 2020, whenever AEW started?
Yeah, 20.
And you're going around and you're saying, oh yeah, we're gonna do this with the AEW belt. We're gonna take all the time. But now what have you done, Tony Khan?
Mm-hmm.
You've taken all of the, I wouldn't say all of it, but when you're debuting a new wrestler every other fucking week, yeah. People are gonna get excited. Yeah, people are gonna look, man. We're in year number 3, 4, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, where's the excitement with these same guys that debuted 2 years ago? Where's that same excitement with the guys that debuted a year ago?
Yeah.
Everybody on the fucking and look, WWE has hoarded talent. Now AEW, it seems like, is hoarding talent. Maybe not as bad as WWE right now, but they have a lot of top talent that is on elevation or evolution, whatever the fuck they call it, whatever that the dark matter are, right? You have guys that could have gone elsewhere, that have traveled all over the world, have been at the end all be all, right? The best of the best. Or elite, might I say. But now with what they've done. Cody Rhodes is leaving, fam.
Exactly.
The face of AEW 3 years ago is gone. And I don't think now, let's get to the WWE part, because I don't think he's going to go to WWE. And here's why. When Cody Rhodes left WWE, you remember why, Jake, right? He left because he wasn't being utilized. He
Yeah,
left
he's that stupid Stardust, gimmick,
and they wanted to keep that shit on him.
Yep.
They wanted to keep Stardust on Cody Rhodes. And this is after the death of Dusty Rhodes, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still spitting in the face of the legacy of Dusty Rhodes. You're still spitting in the face of the legacy of Cody Rhodes, especially when he remember that letter. I don't know if you remember the letter that he wrote, or I guess or whatever he wrote to his fans after he left, and he talked about it a lot because in that letter he was saying that, look, I wrote numerous storylines for Triple H and creative, and they gave me that. That's why he was so salty. That's why he did what he did as soon as he got over to AEW with the throne, with the sledgehammer or whatever the fuck, right? With the throne that he sits on. I remember that. I think it was Double or Nothing or whatever it was. Dude was smashing the throne. We knew what that was about. We knew that he had this long-standing fucking, I guess, real heat with Triple H. Because he went to Triple H and them in creative and said, hey, I have all these ideas for creative and none of them will fucking listen to me. And I think now I'm not the kind of guy that says like, oh, my dad has a big name in the business, so you guys should listen to me, whatever. But dude, it's out of respect. This dude is wrestling royalty. I know it might seem hokey and whatever, but dude is literally wrestling royalty. His family's wrestling royalty. It's just like the Harts. Yep. So if you're going to do that to a guy in 2016, what makes you think he's going to come back 7 years later and think shit has changed when shit in WWE has been noticeably worse?
Absolutely.
I don't think he's going to go to WWE, man. I cannot. Now, nothing's impossible, right? we've seen the unthinkable and the impossible happen. So I don't look, I could be wrong, but I am 98% sure he's not going to WWE.
No.
Now, before I get to my next outcome, what do you think? Jake? Like, what's going through your mind with all of this, with the whole Cody Rhodes thing? Do you really think he'll go to AEW? Do you think it's a work? Do you think he'll go somewhere else? Do you think he's giving up wrestling? Like, what do you think?
Well, actually, right there, I thought about that too. Maybe they're taking a break. Like maybe Brandy's wanting to have some kids or something, but part of me doesn't see that happening because, and like you said, if WWE approached Cody Rhodes, and the WWE approaches everybody, you know what I mean, and I don't know. I think at the very least, the most likely scenario for me is that Cody Rhodes is going to New Japan. Maybe that's what I think.
That'll be nice to see him back there.
I think that might be what could happen. That's more likely, in my opinion, than WWE.
I heard someone mention that he would go to Ring of Honor because he's been at Ring of Honor before, right? And if you go to Ring of Honor, you help build a smaller company, a smaller wrestling company like Ring of Honor, put them on a map, get them a TV deal. Look, I think Cody Rhodes could do well for himself. Not even for himself, because obviously he doesn't need to do well for himself anymore, except for become world champion somewhere. I mean, he kind of put himself in a corner with that whole can't compete for a world title anymore after he lost to Jericho that one a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember that,
which I thought was really stupid and really early to do that.
Well, I always thought it was kind of weird because it's hard to book Cody as a face because we all know he's literally the vice president, like he's higher up, you know, like writing the show around him would just come off as phony, and I think he resisted the urge to do that. He never gave his character a straight shot, at least. Like you
Facts.
remember the MJF feud was like just phenomenal. You know, he made it to
Mhm.
where it was impossible to because MJF is such a perfect heel.
Oh yeah.
Just that whole segment where he had to let MJF beat him with a belt before they could have a match. Like that that was one of the best segments that year for sure as far as wrestling went. Like everybody was white hot for Cody, even more so. But and to the point though, if I think because Cody's a very goal oriented kind of guy. If he goes back to WWE, it's because he thinks he can do something to help it. Maybe that's his mindset.
Which is crazy because you look at the product, and I don't want to talk too much about WWE because we're about to talk about them in the next topic, anyways. But
Yeah,
you look at WWE right now; they cannot be saved, bro. This is a company. Look, and look, Jake, you might disagree, but look, I don't think WWE can be saved at this point, bro. I really don't think so. Or all the shit that they got with this Nick Khan guy doing,
yeah,
who's now the president of WWE now, or talent relations, or whatever the fuck they call it, who's been
yeah,
firing everybody for the past year and a half. I,
yeah,
fuck. I WWE, which we know is going towards this whole like NIL thing with their NXT people that like they're taking all these. They don't care about wrestling anymore, which obviously, I mean, we know with sports entertainment, they never really did care about wrestling,
yeah.
which is why we left NXT for so long, at least the black and gold brand before they got rid of the
hmm
wrestling and just brought in just,
Just it became just like Raw or SmackDown,
yeah,
just
just
another
the Raw
bland
SmackDown Junior shit
wrestling show.
now. And it's I don't know, man. It's just hard for me to grasp the idea of Cody saying, you know what, I'm gonna leave this somewhat because AEW is not all wrestling either. But like, I'm gonna leave this company I helped build, no matter the disagreements that Tony and I have, blah blah, whatever. Because there are some rumblings about just backstage stuff that obviously you had Cody Rhodes as the executive vice president, you had the Young Bucks, you had Kenny Omega, and they're fine with their roles, but Cody was not fine with just sitting there and not doing shit and just collecting a paycheck. And that's the thing. And I think Cody had big ideas for AEW. And as Tony Khan, his visibility grew much larger. His role grew much larger as well than
Yeah,
what I don't know whether it was than what he anticipated. Maybe he felt it was necessary, a necessity to do that. To say, you know what, fuck it. I know it's been a couple years, but I need to take the reins of everything. I need to oversee every fucking thing. And maybe Cody was like, look, man, I'm out. Because you gotta remember, Cody yeah, as an
yeah.
as an executive vice president of you're getting paid six or
No,
seven figures
yeah.
a year.
He's set. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Like to me, Cody, nothing is money. This is to me. Nothing's money driven with Cody. I don't think anything would be money driven for Cody. Cody loves professional wrestling too much. It runs in his blood, literally, way too much. For him to say, you know what, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go back to WWE, chase the bag, and diminish my legacy. Because I guarantee you, the second you step through those doors at WWE, your legacy will be diminished if you are Cody Rhodes or anyone from AEW for that matter. Now we are gonna see people go from AEW to WWE if we haven't seen that already, maybe at the NXT level. But what we've seen in the past few years is, WWE to AEW. And now we've seen that so much that it now just becomes second nature whenever someone leaves WWE. And I hate that. I hate that so much.
It's the new TNA.
Yeah. I mean, I give them credit. They're way better than TNA. I would say way better, but they have better, at least quality matches than
For sure.
TNA, better pay-per-views than TNA. But Cody Rhodes leaving is a big fucking footprint. Um, from AEW that's
Yeah,
leaving.
exactly. It's
And
I don't know what to
I
expect.
honestly want to know why. Like I'm sure we will never find out why, just because of the kind of guy Tony Khan is, the professionalism in Tony Khan, and the professionalism in Cody Rhodes. I don't
Yeah,
think we'll ever see. Maybe Brandy Rhodes might slip on a podcast that she's on or something somewhere and say why they left. Um, but
yeah,
obviously, they just had a kid too, man. So I
yeah,
understand, man. Now you're thinking about literally legacy. You're thinking about the future. If your role in AEW as the executive vice president is not the fit, damn, that takes a lot to walk away from that. Because if I'm an executive vice president and I help build something of that company, and I am the executive vice, I don't think I'm walking away. I don't think I'm walking
yeah,
away. But then again, that's the difference between someone that is like, okay, I'm getting paid this X and X amount of money, I'm good, and I get to do what I love, I'm good. Rather than somebody saying, look, man, I'm trying to build something here, and you, Tony Khan, or anyone or the other EVPs are getting in the way.
yeah,
So, and we've seen what AEW has become since day one. Day one of AEW, amazing.
yeah,
Year
for
one of
sure.
AEW, I don't think would ever be done again anywhere. It was phenomenal, phenomenal.
Yeah, fuck
But
yeah.
then we started seeing them go the more sports entertainment route, the more hokey route, the stupid shit.
Yeah, I guess
Now
more corporate.
yeah, but now they still keep a lot of the wrestling in it, which is why I still watch AEW whenever they do have a pay per view or whatever. And I watch clips here and there, but in about 5 years, are we gonna see any kind of difference between AEW and WWE? Except for the wrestlers, I don't think so.
Well, and the thing is, like, if you, and this is really a repeat in history. The more I think about it, too, because if Cody's left because he's unhappy, then well, look what he did with WWE. He did the same thing. He left because he was unhappy with the product, with his character, and and then sort of and like right now, like WWE's gonna have to pay an assload of money to have Cody come back, no matter how you look at it. Um, I think AEW, if it is something personal between Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, maybe money won't solve that. Or maybe it will. Who knows? There's the next. It's gonna be an exciting little period of time because people are still wondering if he's even gonna be wrestling. You know what I
Fact.
mean?
I've heard people throw around acting too, because Cody has wanted to act, his entire life as well. Like he's always loved that Hollywood esque
Yeah.
spotlight.
He's
Which I can't be mad at him for, man. Like when I was younger, man, when I was a kid, I was like, dude, I want to be in fucking Hollywood. Now as a 29-year-old man,
yeah,
Hollywood, no, I'm good. But
for sure.
I've learned a few things about Hollywood since I was a pup. But um, look, Cody's gonna be successful anywhere he fucking goes because it's fucking Cody Rhodes. Like
Yeah,
he's not a dumb dude.
yeah,
I don't think he ever was. He's always been a very smart dude. Always kept his head on a swivel. And one thing he's always done too is he's always been able, because I cannot shit on the fans that shat on Cody Rhodes when he was out there in the ring or whatever, because yeah, he did come across as a little bit hokey. I mean, the whole neck tattoo thing was that I think once he got that, and I know this sounds really stupid, but I think once he got that neck tattoo, it was over for him.
yeah.
It was over for him. Like
Well, he's
I don't think the fans were ever truly behind Cody Rhodes. And I know that sounds
mm-hmm.
so stupid and idiotic to say. Um, but if you really think about it, a lot of people really did not look at Cody Rhodes as like this super big baby face anymore.
Yeah.
After that point.
Well, there's always, like you said, there's always sort of a. By the way, like I read Brock Lesnar's autobiography. I finished it this last week, and he said that when he got that tattoo of the sword on his chest, it immediately became an issue for when him and WWE started negotiating for a possible return.
Mhm.
Because immediately you get a tattoo done, it just changes the product, because that's what
Yeah.
the body is in wrestling. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
your bread and butter.
Changes your look. Yeah.
And so Cody, well, he's just pretty boy. He's by all means a very good looking guy, and for them to be in this sort of the star kind of, superstar, the tattoos are usually, you get booked a little wonky after that. And maybe that's where it started. Maybe
Especially a
that's
neck
where,
tattoo, man.
and I don't care much for it as far as like, I don't think it really suits him. You know what I mean? It's like, I think I like the tattoo he has across the chest. That's kind of cool, but I just, but overall, I'm going to be pondering about what's really going on, and maybe we'll find out. Who knows? Uh, I'm looking forward to it. Like it's the most excited I've been about Cody Rhodes in about a year or two. I will say that.
Yeah, man.
That's why I thought it was a work.
Yeah, I know, because like Cody Rhodes has always been like the guy for me that I always thought. I was like, dude, you put that guy in any company, the way he carried himself after WWE and New
Mm-hmm.
Japan and ROH, to do was on top of the fucking world and had Bullet Club behind him.
Yeah.
Bro, when his I will never forget, dude. I was spending the night at my boy's house. Woke up the next morning. I hop on social media and I look and I saw that little 30-second clip of Cody and that little promo that he did where he was sitting in a chair smoking a cigar and
Mm-hmm.
puffing the smoke out and then
Yeah.
talking about like his legacy. You see all these little like Easter eggs of his like past WWE life, and then
Mm-hmm.
shoots to the camera, like shoots to his face, and then you hear Bullet Club for life. And I was like, oh, dude, that is still the best rollout in wrestling I've ever seen. Like to me, that was so exciting to see. I was like, Cody Rhodes is a part of fucking Bullet Club. That was, and then for him, it was so awesome. Like that whole era was fucking awesome. And then you get to the WWE shit. I mean, not WWE, the AEW shit. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Cody Rhodes is great, amazing. Oh man, can't wait to see him win the AEW World Title. Ball. Then all that shit happened, and then I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, well, Cody Rhodes pretty much put himself in the corner, and how is he going to get out of this? And I even saw some people saying that maybe this work is something to get him out of that corner that he booked himself into. If this is a
Mm-hmm.
like as a heel, comes out maybe a different name or something, or and gets another shot at the world title because I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
There's a million things that come from this Cody Rhodes news, but man, this is definitely the biggest news of the year so far, which I guess doesn't really say much because it's only February. Um, but
Fuck yeah.
still the biggest shit that has happened to the wrestling world in the past month and a half.
Cool.
But Cody Rhodes he's a big name, and he's the biggest name right now in terms of free agents.
For sure.
Now, whether he's actually a free agent or whether he's actually walked away from wrestling, it's only up to us to find out. But my best guess is he's going to go to a smaller company, maybe build his own company. Um,
Yeah.
that would be a nice. That would be a nice idea as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you need? Anything else you want to say about the whole Cody Rhodes situation?
This is how important it was. I just realized we then spent like the first 30 minutes of of the cat podcast talking. I mean, I thought about it most of the day too. Like I did, like I was keeping up with like new feeds. Like what's going on. Like now my last word against it is that, like I said, I'm still. It's the most excited I've been about Cody in about a year or so. So I don't know. I look forward to seeing what happens next. This is wild.
I agree, and the one thing though is that I look at AEW and it's just like, man, what are they gonna do, man?
Yeah, they
Because
better.
look at all the people they brought over in the past few months. You had all of Undisputed Era. You got CM Punk. You brought in CM Punk at the
Yeah,
end of last year. Brought in Daniel Bryan. Brought in I already mentioned Adam Cole and all them. So Undisputed Era. Keith Lee. You know, I
yeah.
mean,
Well, like you said, there's an influx of talent. It's like you don't need that much talent for the product that you're making.
that
And even then, no one's getting enough time to really do anything worth. doing, and I don't know, like, and I do wish wrestling would get to a point to where wrestlers can just kind of circle back, like I love the era, like the indies. That's why I love the indies, like a lot of my favorite guys back in the day when they were independent, like Kevin Owens and Sammy, when he
Mhm.
was El Generico, they would circle
And Kevin
back.
Steen. Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, kept the PWG and CZW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, just and even Impact. These companies who are friendly with each other. Just
EWG.
yeah, man. Like these guys are friendly with each other. Well, there was What Culture Wrestling back when they were still around.
Oh
They
man, dude, I miss What Culture Wrestling. Them and what was it, Progress Wrestling as well. But like What Culture Wrestling, literally, you talk about dream matches, bro. They
yeah
had Drew McIntyre back when he was Drew Galloway at the time, and
yeah
where they had Drew Galloway versus fucking Rey Mysterio as for dude. I watched that match at least like 4 times when that shit came out on YouTube. This was
yeah
5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. But bro,
yeah.
What Culture Wrestling was the shit, bro. It
They
was
really
it
were.
was really fantasy booking.
Well, yeah, that's what they were, like What Culture back when they was actually a pretty cool little YouTube channel. They started their own promotion and they actually stayed afloat for about a year or two,
Yep.
and then just and it just I think
Yeah, they
that
had,
it was the first time.
mhm.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of reminds me of what we're seeing now because a lot of people who are starting a promotion, they're new to it. They don't know all the different, nuances that can get out of that. You'll regret some decisions that you had left in the contract later. You know what
Facts.
I mean? Some shit come back to haunt you. But now that was a shit, and but that's what I want. I wish WWE would just open themselves up, stop competing, because that's the biggest problem. WWE is still trying to run everybody out of business instead of working with everybody. Just like the wrestlers should be able to circle through the different promotions and get to work. And I think you'll have a lot more. You'll not only will you have a better, everybody will do better. The wrestlers will be happier. I think the fans will be happier. Nobody's just imprisoned by a contract. And it's the greed is what's hurting the business right now, in my opinion. You
Facts.
know,
And that's the biggest problem for WWE and for AEW. But I feel like AEW is doing like Tony Khan is doing the right thing right now, which is getting rid of some. Not I wouldn't say getting rid, but not re-signing some talents. And I
yeah,
perfectly agree with that. Like I don't know if you saw the whole rant I went on with the whole Big Swole thing, but it's just like,
hmm
look, if you aren't good enough, then you're not good enough. You got to go.
yeah,
And that's not to take it to heart to or anything like that. That's literally someone saying in the best way possible, you're not being fired, you're not being released, we're not re-signing your contract because you need to go somewhere else and get better. And then we'll bring you and we might bring like who knows. But then, obviously Big Swole burned that fucking bridge as well as the rest.
yeah,
Um, but WWE does the same thing, except yeah, WWE may cut you and release you in the middle of your fucking contract because they feel like it,
yeah,
and at least AEW is not doing shit like that. So look, AEW is doing it the right way right now in terms of
yeah,
oh shit, we signed too many. But here's the thing, I don't even think they're even looking at it as like oh shit, we signed too many people. But I think it's in the back of Tony Khan's head where it's like, wow, I took on more than I could handle in terms of signing top tier talent.
yeah. Well, just you can't do anything with most of the people you have signed. And really, to me, it's a waste of money.
Facts.
Just you're paying these salaries and they're sitting on the bench, just so WWE can't get them, just who cares?
Especially when you have so much fucking talent that where even if you wanted to like cycle people in and out, it might work for a little bit, but then it's gonna be like, oh, we saw Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson now. Uh, we haven't seen Daniel Bryan since February of 2022, and it's now November. Where the fuck
Yeah.
has he been? Oh, well, he's technically in this whole fucking cycle rotation thing to where he gets 6, 7 months off and now he comes back, and I don't like that either, man. Because
Yeah.
my whole thing is you need people there that are going to help build the company. So like, yeah, you're gonna have your MJFs, you're gonna have your fucking Sammy Guevara's, and Chris Jericho's at the point now where he can occasionally pop in and out because he we know who he is. We know
Yeah.
the prestige of Chris Jericho. Um, and the same goes for CM Punk. But now they got CM Punk out there every week as well, and I don't know how long that's gonna fucking last.
Yeah.
Um, they just had him lose to fucking MJF, which I don't think was a bad idea, but especially on television too. This wasn't a pay per view. They had
Yeah.
CM Punk lose to MJF on television. Now, that says a lot about what CM Punk's willing to do and the storylines that you can tell. CM Punk's a happy dude over at
Yeah.
AEW because he's doing shit like that. And you got Daniel Bryan, Lance Archer, those guys. But what about the Keith Lees? What are we going to be saying about Keith Lee a year from now in
Yeah.
AEW? Are we going to be saying Keith Lee is a top tier talent still, or is it going to be like Keith who? Just like we're saying with Brian, just like we've been doing with Brian Cage ever since he got there. Brian Cage who? Why the fuck is Brian Cage not? Why is he not at the forefront of storylines right now? Why? I understand the whole Wardlow thing, but Brian Cage, Brian, big ass fucking dude, huge,
Yeah. Huge
and you
man.
don't
I
have
love that
that
guy.
guy. You don't have that guy doing shit.
Well, it's like they also got Braun Strowman in there, don't they?
And AEW.
What did Braun? I see Braun Strowman pop up at after he got fired because
No,
he made.
he went to fuck. Where did he go? I think it was Ring of was it Ring of Honor or Impact? One of those two.
Maybe it was there because I was like, I don't know, like
No, he
like
might have gone. He might have arrived at AEW maybe recently, but
it's like yeah, you got two big monsters like that in the same company. It's kind of defeats the whole. It defeat the purpose. Like and like you said, Brian Cage. That's your like
that's your
that's your
end all be all.
beast. Yeah, man, he's awesome. Like and. And, I want to see Braun Strowman in some capacity because I think he's a young guy, but he's got a lot of talent. And, to be as big as he is, he's actually very capable, I always thought. Just to be just almost as big as Big Show, yet to be as mobile. Like, I always gave Braun his props. But I don't know where he really fits outside of WWE.
That's the thing. And you and I had this conversation last year as well because I remember you've always been high on Braun Strowman. I've never really been a fan of Braun Strowman. Like, as a person, he's cool. Like, from what I've seen him as a person, he seems awesome. But just as a wrestler, I've just never been able to like really get excited for Braun, unless he was in a ring with Roman Reigns, which is something that I've always said is
Those boys got magic. They really
yeah,
do have chemistry.
like you need that like that one guy that's gonna push you to that limit. That one guy that's gonna make you both look like you
Yeah.
both have to make each other look really good. And
They
whenever
re-
Braun Strowman got in the ring with Roman Reigns, they both made each other look like top guys in that company.
Like for real, they probably had the feud. They really probably had feud of the year that year in WWE. Like they
Remember
really
the ambulance match? Holy shit!
and there were times where it's like Roman, like I remember he was beating Strowman with that freaking chair, and Strowman was just no selling it. And it's like I
Fact.
love the working there. Roman was like, "All right, that's not going to work." He had to get his thinking cap on. How do I put this beast away? And and I love everything about Roman these days. If you I don't know how much you've watched him. The
Oh
Chief,
yeah, the bloodline.
yeah, that's what he should have been all along.
Yeah,
Just it's like That's what I always thought. Like they tried, and that's the problem with WWE. They keep trying to give the younger guys gimmicks that we've already seen. They tried to give Undertaker's gimmick of the big dog to Roman, and it's like no, he needs something his own. And of
facts.
course, it takes when Paul Heyman starts, working with the guy, because the Chief. That's exactly what you think when you see this big Samoan, badass walking in. That oh shit, that's the big cheese around here. That's the head of the table, you know.
Fact, fact.
Just,
And now, if they're really leading up to this whole Rock thing, we're gonna have to see about that. But yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. But
sure.
uh, yeah, I mean, look, AEW is gonna be fine. WWE is gonna be fine. We know. But at the end of the day, it's all about the quality of your product. And Cody Rhodes is a huge loss for AEW. And I'm not saying I don't know how they're gonna get back to ball, but it seems like to me AEW is clearly going in a different direction than what they started as.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure what that direction is, but especially after the signing and the way they pushed Orange Cassidy and all that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm completely lost for words still about this Cody Rhodes departure from AEW.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to see what happens. But let's get on to our next topic.